Welcome back to another Cavs game reaction. This one for their game in Paris, France that happened on Thursday, game 37 for Cleveland. And the Cavs did very well on foreign soil, at least foreign soil to me and the NBA teams, obviously, beating the Nets 111-102 in a game in which they never trailed. The Cavs scored first, and they would hold that lead for the entirety of the game. So as much as I'll get into these guys and their performance on some of the scoring end of things and some of their offensive impacts, this was as much of a good game for the Cavs defense as it was for their offense. The Nets weren't able to shoot the ball all that well, and Brooklyn also got to the free throw line a lot less than Cleveland did, which I think when you factor in the whole game as a whole, that was huge considering the Nets actually ended up shooting the ball a little bit better overall than the Cavs did, 45% to 39%, with both teams having 82 shot attempts. The only thing that gives me concern about this game as far as the team moving forward was Max Strus leaving early with injury. Only got 7 minutes overall in the game and missed a couple of three-pointers and is questionable to play this evening against the Bulls and is listed as day-to-day with a knee injury. So with Strus gone for most of this game, that gave a lot more minutes to Caris LeVert and Sam Merrill, and I'll get to those guys in the video, obviously, but the first player I want to really dive in on is Donovan Mitchell and his performance in Paris, where honestly he was at his best on Thursday. This is the Donovan Mitchell that really gets me excited about the improvement to the Cavs ceiling that he has when he's playing like this. He put up 45 points, doing so while shooting 50% overall from the floor, definitely in attack mode. Also got to the free throw line plenty of times. Also nabbed a double-double with 12 rebounds as well, 2 of them being offensive boards. Also contributed 6 assists and 4 steals. 7 turnovers, maybe a little bit sloppy with the ball, maybe a bit more than you'd want him to be. But, this was definitely a game where you could get away with that if you're Donovan Mitchell, when you can make up for it by being such a dynamic scorer in that kind of game. In my opinion, easily the start of the game for Cleveland and just the start of the game overall. Jarrett Allen has turned into a double-double machine as of late, no different against Brooklyn. 12 points and 12 rebounds with 4 assists and 4 blocks as well. Throwing 2 steals. Jarrett Allen, this is why I also want to shout out the defensive performance for the Cavs as well in this one. He's been a stalwart on both sides of the ball, Jarrett Allen has, and he's really shown out since that Evan Mobley injury, where I feel like when Mobley went down the first couple of games, Jarrett Allen was a little bit shaky, and it looked like, the front court might be in a bit of trouble, but Jarrett Allen has been a very steadying presence that the Cavs have needed throughout this stretch of play here. Isaac Okoro, I feel like his game was, pretty solid overall. Wasn't an all-time great game for him or anything, but he hit some of his outside shots, grabbed some boards, certainly had a bit more of an impact than Dean Wade had in this game. Caris LeVert, yet another 20-plus point performance with a total of 21 points for him coming off of the bench, although he did get starter minutes because of the Strus injury, like I mentioned. Wasn't great shooting for LeVert, but he was able to get to the free throw line quite often. He also got three rebounds, 1 assist and a steal, and 2 blocks as well. Sam Merrill also wasn't having nearly as good of a shooting game as he's used to having. 2 of 11 from 3, 2 for 12 overall, so his shot just wasn't falling over in Paris, but he grabbed 9 rebounds, and the poor shooting in this one obviously not putting the Cavs in any sort of danger of losing the game. They grabbed a 10-point lead after the first quarter. They led it by as many as 26 at one point, and it was a pretty dominant effort from the Cavs overall. And that's what holding your opponent to a low score, that's what that does, where it gives you that margin for error, where a guy like Sam Merrill can have a bad shooting night, and Max Strus can leave the game early, where you figure that you can get some shooting from him. Those 2 guys can have off nights, or they can leave early with injuries, and you're still not too worried about how the game's going to go because the defense is holding it down, keeping the Nets under control. Also a pretty efficient game for the G-Wagon. Niang only got 16 minutes on the court, but he did get to double-digit points with 10, 4 rebounds and 2 assists, shot 50% overall and from 3, so I believe he was 3 for 6, overall 2 for 4 from beyond the arc. So in their first game against a real team in quite a while, the Cavs are able to get it done, where I don't think the Brooklyn Nets are necessarily that good of a team in the Eastern Conference, but they are certainly a step up from what the Cavs have been seeing from the Wizards and the Spurs. I think that can be said about the Cavs' opponent this evening in the Chicago Bulls, although the Bulls, they've won 4 of their last 5. Now, granted, 3 of those 4 wins were against Charlotte and San Antonio, and the other one was against the Houston Rockets. So they're not beating any of the teams that are particularly, vying for the final shot in the East or anything. But I think there is something to be said about a team with a good bit of momentum. If you're winning a bunch of games, no matter who you're winning against, that is going to create positive feelings in the locker room, and that is going to give your team a boost. There's something to be said about a team with that kind of momentum against a team that hasn't played since Thursday. They haven't played in about 4 days now, and seeing how that could impact this game is going to be interesting, where that kind of break doesn't happen very often in an NBA schedule unless there's like an all-star break or something, and it's only happening for the Cavs in this one because Cleveland played a game in a different continent before this weekend. So as mentioned, Max Strus is questionable to play in this one with his knee injury. I would say that could lead to another start for Craig Porter Jr., but honestly Sam Merrill might get that honor based on how the minutes have gone these past few games for Sam Merrill and Craig Porter Jr., with Porter Jr. not getting any minutes against the Nets in Paris, which again, I've said my piece about Craig Porter Jr. and his minutes many, many times. It obviously didn't play any kind of role in the Cavs being in danger of losing, so I'm not going to go on a crazy long-winded rant about Porter Jr.'s minutes in this video, but if he's not getting that many minutes and the Cavs end up dropping this one against Chicago, maybe that'll change in my reaction to that game. But that will do it for me in this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did make it this far into it, I'll cover a couple other teams in Ohio as well, so maybe you'll like those videos too. But once again, thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you at the next one.